Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live news up here at this hour in Kanda. My name is Alfred Akansi.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Let's take a look at the headlines for this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
National Petroleum Authority to wait until products of 37 high-risk fuel outlets reach safety levels before it shuts them down. We'll be finding out whether the current situation does not pose a higher risk.
An Accra Circuit Court grants bail to 26 Togolese nationals arrested for staging an unlawful demonstration against President Faure Gnassingbé.
Meanwhile, 224 Togolese in Ghana to seek asylum from political unrest in their country haggle over accommodation.
Also in the bulletin tonight, the first of exclusive interviews with eminent Ghanaians dubbed 20 by 20.
We've got the details of these stories for you here on News 360, including the latest from the world of sports and entertainment. Remember, this bulletin is streaming live on 3news.com as well as TV3 Ghana on Facebook. And here's where we start off this evening. 37 high-risk fuel outlets have been earmarked to be shut down. But the National Petroleum Authority says it will have to wait until the products reach safety levels. Our reporter, Komla Kluche, has been finding out whether the current situation doesn't pose a higher risk.
37 outlets have been marked for closure when the level of their stocks reduced to levels within the safety zone. 26 outlets have been reopened after a comprehensive inspection was carried out by the inspections and monitoring unit of the authority. To date, 114 outlets were found to be in full compliance with the prescribed safety standards.
A very strong position the NPA has taken. But why wait when outlets are high risk?
We have to discharge the LPG.
How long could this take?
Well, it can take maybe a day. It can take 2 days. They are still selling, and the more they sell, the more they reduce the stock. So we monitor them on a daily basis.
The numbers are worrying. The disaster took the nation unawares with reactions from all quarters. Government has since taken a tough stance on enforcing regulation. 47 stations have been shut down as a result of government effort to clamp down on those which have yet to meet the requirement. The NPA is pushing a safety agenda, courting public support, but the posturing of the NPA has come under scrutiny from industry players.
It is worrying that you can identify a danger, but you would have to wait for stocks to deplete before you take action. We would expect that those that are not operating safely immediately will be taken down, and as best as practicable, evacuation of those products be done instead of waiting for them to deplete stocks before you take whatever action.
Government says it has given the full backing to the NPA to crack the whip.
So this action has been taken by the NPA to ensure safety standards are adhered to in this area. And I'm going to run us by in detail the status of these stations, the stations that have been closed, reopened, and those that have been seen to be in full compliance. 45 outlets remain closed, as you might have heard in the story earlier. 37 outlets have been marked for closure, and 26 outlets have been reopened following the checks by the NPA, while 114 outlets have been seen to be in full compliance, meaning that both where they're situated, where they're sited, and the design of the structures are in adherence with the NPA's regulations. And the criteria for stations is for them to be sited and their location to be at low-risk areas, and low-risk areas would be areas that are not closely beside residential areas or corporate locations, just to ensure that if any such occasion occurs again, it wouldn't affect many people. And the engineering and design of the infrastructure is also what is considered by the NPA for these stations, as well as the operations and management, which has to do with how informed the staff of the stations are on safety regulations. for supply of gas specifically, and this is the action going to be taken by the MPA.
That's it. So, away from that. Now, an Accra Circuit Court has granted bail to 26 Togolese nationals arrested for staging an unlawful demonstration against President Faure Gnassingbé. This was after they pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of charges.
The charges are conspiracy to commit crime, to wit failure to inform the police of an event, failing to notify the police, and offensive conduct constituting breach of peace. The court, presided over by Justice Priscilla Dapamriku, took the plea of 25 of them, with 6 being women. The 26th person, claimed to be 11 years, could not be taken. According to the prosecutor, Chief Inspector Evans Kese, the Accra Regional Police Command on Saturday at around 9:15 a.m. got a hint that some Togolese nationals were demonstrating at the Nima Kaokudi Park, with some riding motorbikes recklessly on the Nima Highway. The police immediately moved in and picked up 26 of them, including 2 leaders who were part of some 300 demonstrators. Lawyer for the accused persons, Godwin Tamaklo, argued that the offense they are alleged to have committed were bailable and assured the court they would avail themselves for trial. Though prosecution opposed the bill, saying the accused persons were Togolese nationals without permanent abode in Ghana, the presiding judge Priscilla Dapamriku went ahead to grant them bail to the tune of 10,000 cedis each, with 1 surety who must be gainfully employed. The case is adjourned to November 13.
Let's now turn to some other stories this evening. The National Youth Authority has challenged vigilante groups to take advantage of job opportunities rolled out by government. Its Chief Executive Officer, Emmanuel Asigri, insists the attitude by some groups could undermine the good policies and initiatives of government.
The Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority, Emmanuel Asigri, expressed disappointment over attacks by some vigilante groups. More than 8 cases of outreach by some vigilante groups have been reported recently. Emmanuel Asigri wants members of the vigilante groups to consider November 1 set aside by the African Union to commemorate the hard work of the youth. In another development, the National Youth Authority has indicated plans to engage 500 youth to work at the district assemblies to be paid through the internally generated funds of the assemblies.
They're going to end up as people who would have been certified. Then beyond that, they would be given the requisite gadgets and equipment to be able to go through and deal with whatever activity they'll be doing at the various assemblies.
The CEO again spoke about plans to roll out other policies to engage 10,000 youths in metal fabrication from next month.
In the various models, metal fabrication, glass door, tiling, those who want to do dressmaking, hairdressing, and this is not something we are just doing in a ad hoc manner. So far, what we've done is that we've gone into partnership with most of the associations that run some of these areas.
Now, government has tasked a committee to, within 3 months, review all public and private sector salaries to improve on incomes of Ghanaians. The committee is again to consider measures to assist the Finance Ministry reduce the wage bill, which stands at about 7% of tax revenue.
Between 2013 and 2015, the wage bill on public sector salaries was about 70% of tax revenue. The figure reduced to 30% at the early part of 2016 due to the reduction in the payment of arrears. This year, the government spent 50% of tax revenue to pay salaries of public sector employees. The situation continued to distort the budget. The team is mandated to examine both the private and public sector salaries to improve the lot of workers. Representatives of organized labor on the team suggested the scrapping of the single span pay policy, but the Minister of Employment and Labor Relations, Ignatius Bafuewa, rather urged the team to address all challenges associated with the pay policy. Again, the team will examine challenges associated with the second-tier pension scheme and link wages to productivity.
I want to plead with you that we may not tolerate this issue of we are coming to ask for extension of time, because per the Public Management Act, Public Financial Management Act, by the end of April next year, we should have determined the minimum wage and the base pay for 2019.
Deputy Minister of Finance Abino Asare called for stronger collaboration with Labour.
The wage bill has taken more than 50% of our tax revenue, and we believe that we need to sit together and sort of plan things properly, sit with Labour and all the stakeholders and see how best we can help government.
The committee has 3 months to submit its report for consideration by Cabinet.
So you're still watching the news here on TV3. Just so you know, we're going to cross over to Manchester to speak to Professor Justice Barley, who has a thought to share on the pronouncement by the Ghana High Commissioner to South Africa and also to Denmark, where our colleague Portia Gabo is there ahead of the visit of the Queen of Denmark to Ghana. Stay with us after this break. We're back with some more details here on News 360. Do stay. Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to the business news tonight. The Food and Agriculture Minister, Dr. Owusu Efri-Akoto, has blamed the declining fortunes of Ghana's agriculture to the missing link between technological science and the farmer. At the Graphic Business Breakfast meeting, he said government needs to employ about 4,000 extension officers to promote the sector.
Agriculture until 2008 was one of the highest contributors to Ghana's GDP, as majority of the population of the country are into farming. A 7-year contribution of agriculture to GDP shows a steady decline. Agriculture's performance dipped from 31.8% in 2009 to 29.8% in 2010, before easing further down to 25.3% in 2011. 22.7% in 2012, 22.4% in 2013, 21.5% in 2014, and 19% in 2015. The Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Efri-Akoto, said the sector will continue to decline if more extension officers are not recruited to enhance the link between technology and the farmer.
The difference between the yield of these traditional seeds, less than 1 ton per hectare. And then if you compare it to what our own scientists have developed, the hybrids and the open pollinated. The open pollinated, at least you get 3 tons just by changing the kind of seed the farmer is using. Because the link between the seed that our brilliant scientists have discovered and are sitting on the shelves of the universities and our science laboratories, the link between that and the farmer is not there. And that's what we call extension.
The former Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Alassane Yakubu, said sufficient advocacy had been done for the sector, and now is the time for action.
The notion that the agri sector is a public sector baby, I believe, should change.
Politician and agronomist Dr. Abu Sakara called for cheaper sources of credit for farmers.
Money is the most expensive commodity constraining investments in agriculture in Ghana right now, and it is difficult and tortuous to access. It is the case simply because we don't have a separate window for agricultural lending. The central bank, they have only one window, and that is for commercial lending. You cannot ask the banks to continue to lend to a sector with such high risk, long-term demands, when in fact their source of money is short-term.
Fidelity Bank Ghana has held the 3rd draw of the bank's ongoing 10 times richer promotion in Takoradi in the Western region. The promotion seeks to reward loyal customers and also inculcate a savings culture among Ghanaians.
The 10 times richer promotion was launched in June this year to reward 25 customers of Fidelity Bank. In each monthly draw, the coupon balance of 5 lucky customers are multiplied by 10 and winners are expected to take away 5,000 cedis each with multiple deposits of 500 cedis. At the third draw held in Takoradi, 3 among the 5 lucky customers were from the bank's branches in the Greater Accra region and the other 2 from the Takoradi and Takwa branches in the Western region.
We are advising all Fidelity customers and prospective customers to come to the bank to open an account and put in the account 500 Ghana cedis and multiples of 500 Ghana cedis in order to participate where you stand the chance of winning 5,000 Ghana cedis.
The managing director outlined the bank's 24-hour access to loans.
The fast and easy loan is a loan that advises customers not to spend their money, but to protect their money. Even if you have money to procure anything at all, please don't spend that money. We are advising you to bring that money to Fidelity Bank, put it in a deposit account. We in turn will give you our own money to buy whatever you want to buy at an interest rate of only 10% per annum.
The president of the Western Regional House of Chiefs, Ojahoho Yaojebi II, lauded the bank for its strides to become one of the best banks.
We started with 1 branch. They now have about 75 branches and about 750 agencies. And their target is to be among the best rates in the country.
The grand draw is scheduled for February 2018.
It's interesting, comes at the time. Today is World Savings Day. Those days when you had your piggy bank and your susu box, you got out for it, and bucks are out and give you some very good interest. But the National Service Personnel Association has introduced an insurance cover for all its members. The policy covers death, injury, medical, and other complementary packages during the service period.
In the package, personnel who lose their life or become permanently disabled during the service period would receive 15,000 cedis insurance cover. Service personnel who become temporarily disabled and cannot be at post for more than a month would benefit from a 3,000 cedis cover. Insured personnel could enjoy other complementary packages, such as a 500 cedis loan to be paid within 6 months.
It's not optional, it's mandatory for all national service persons. Once you finish your national service, you don't have the opportunity again, but you can go to the insurance company and start, but you will not get this special package. 15
cedis would be deducted from the service personnel's monthly allowance during the entire service period. Glyco Life is a personal insurance company.
Anytime any of these events occur, it will be paid for separately. So the fact that somebody, for instance, has already gotten himself injured and having received some money, if that person should die later on, would also be paid again.
Executive Director of the National Service.
All right, so that's it for business tonight here on News 360. A small Natley Fort is standing by. When was the last time you checked your piggy bank? That's if you have a system.
Well, when I was much younger, the piggy bank existed. But yeah, it's a very good package, by the way.
Absolutely. Those would. I used to do it myself.
Really?
You have, a container and you put.
I know, and you keep your money in it. Yeah. Thanks, Alfred, for that. Let's now turn our attention to some other stories here on News 360. Live from the News Hub, as we'll be getting through to Justice Baude, who's the head of Department for Administration and Health Services Management of the University of Ghana Business School.
Me, for instance, I told my people over there that my first meeting with them, I told them that it is because of MPP that I'm here. So MPP man is my priority. I told them when NDC was in power, it was because who was there. Now we are in power, so I see what things here with you. My topmost priority is the problem of an MPP person before any other Ghanaian. Take it or leave it.
Perhaps the stark reality of a hardcore politician being blunt, the condemnations have been pouring in, with many calling for his head. His swearing in of an oath to stand and uphold what is in the interest of the nation. President Akufo-Addo swearing him in was apt.
You have the onerous responsibility
of preserving and promoting the image of a country whose reputation amongst the Committee of Nations is high. You have the responsibility to drive private sector investment into Ghana. You are the chief promoters of Ghana's commercial interests to the respective countries to which you are going.
But on August 24, he presented his letter of credence to the South African President Jacob Zuma with the Ghanaian flag boldly behind him. 2 months on, his stance may have shut down the confidence the president reposed in him.
Does the party feel embarrassed about the comments that he's made?
I have not heard the comments. You are telling me, and I don't know whether you are quoting him or you are paraphrasing him.
I am quoting him as a matter of fact.
IEC says that he is primarily there to serve the interests of NPP. I have not heard him, and I don't believe that's what. But I haven't said so. Assuming that is what it may be, is speaking out within a context. But definitely, missions are established not to serve partisan interests. It serves the interests of this country and people of Ghana generally.
The comment from Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, George A.C. Boateng, has been sharply criticized and condemned by a cross-section of the public. For many, this is not a comment that should come from a politician who is representing Ghana in a foreign land, who is serving the interest of the nation. Condemnable as it may be, the Flagstaff House is yet to give an official reaction to the comment that has been widely criticized. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
Like you saw there, the New Patriotic Party chairman, Freddie Blay, has condemned the comments of Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, who says his priority as an ambassador is to serve members of the New Patriotic Party. Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, George A.C. Boateng, speaking to TESCON members in Kumasi, says he is in South Africa primarily because of the MPP, and you're speaking with my colleague Komla Kluche. Then we're going to be interacting with Professor Justice Baule, who's the head of Department of Public Administration and Health Services Management at the University of Ghana Business School. Right, Alfred?
Absolutely, and thank you, Natalie. Professor Justice Baule is joining us via Skype right now. He is in Manchester as we speak and is joining us now. Prof, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sure you've heard the comments by the High Commissioner to South Africa. Now, they're asking that the president acts now, either sack him or he resigns. The silence on up until now, does it worry you?
Well, I think this is a very worrying issue that has just come up. I have two main submissions to make on this. The first is on the comment itself and its bizarre nature, and then the second will be on the attitude of Ghanaians towards comments such as these, especially if the people belong to us. So let me say that I think these comments were very unfortunate. And the reason is that the very foundation of our democracy is about equality and fairness to all manner of people. And when the president swears his oaths, when he's being sworn into office, it's one of the very, very clear statements that the president makes, which is that he is going to be fair to all manner of people and that he will not discriminate in the administration of the affairs of the state. And so for the a representative of the people of Ghana somewhere else who comes out boldly to make a statement such as this, and not just that, but to vehemently, continuously defend that statement, I think it's very unfortunate. And for me, I think, yes, please.
Right. But those who are minded to defend this statement are saying that he's only come out to say something that is already going on or has been going on on the quiet, but he has just come to say it in public. That's the only sin he's committed. But we do know that these kind of favors because of political affiliations has been going on for quite a while, still going on, Prof.
Yes, so that was my second bit of the comment. I told you I have two submissions on this. The second bit is that let's face it, I think that statement you just alluded to is what is the case in the minds of all of us, even when people don't say it. Go to church and you hear the pastors preach and they insist that, look, once you find a good place, please remember your brother. go to our various youth group meetings and ethnic group meetings and go to party meetings.
Okay, so that's Professor Justice Barley there. He is in Manchester now as we speak. Joining us with stars. Prof, you're back. You were making that point. It got frozen just a little bit, but you can conclude on the point that you were making. Yes.
Yes, so I was making the point about the fact that these are things we all do and talk about in the secret, and so I think that to create a platform for fair treatment, I think we must all bow our heads in shame when we get positions and we begin to appropriate them for the benefit of the people who are close and dear to us. That is the core of corruption, and that is why you would find in many places some ethnic and partisan conflict and battles. And so I think that it's important for us to squeeze our politicians, not just them, but for us also, so that when we get into positions, it's not just for the people who are near and dear to us, but that we will be fair to all manner of people, whether they are Ghanaians or even not Ghanaians.
Right, Prof, I want to thank you very much for your time this evening. I'm grateful. Professor Justice Barley there joining us via Skype from Manchester. Let me stay a bit further on this particular issue. I've been joined on the telephone by Ambassador Victor Beho, former Ghana Ambassador to the United Nations, and also a renowned legal practitioner. I thank you very much, Ambassador, for your time. Good evening to you. Now, I do know that you've heard this statement by the Ghana High Commissioner to South Africa. Find out your thoughts about what you heard.
Oh, well, in the first instance, I am shocked that the High Commissioner should have used such words to describe what he has to do in South Africa. Obviously, he's one of those people who, when he has a captive audience or he's talking to people from his constituency, gets carried away. And that's the only explanation I can have for this. But even then it means that he's been poorly selected. He does not have the temperament for an ambassador, and that is a shame. Now, let me say quite clearly that the language of diplomacy is a very sensitive and very polite, very decorous one. And anybody who calls himself a diplomat must not use words like the manner in which he's alleged to have used them. Mm-hmm. Now, first of all, what surprises me is that after his selection and commissioning, I'm sure that he attended an orientation class or course here in Accra, during which the way he has to comport himself, the way he should speak, and the manner, his attitude towards people must have been explained to him. Obviously, he has already forgotten about all of that and seems to think that he can carry his partisan attitude into work, particularly among the Ghanaian community abroad.
Now, you make a very critical point about the violation of the attitude and behavior of a diplomat, which you think that he hasn't exhibited in the kind of pronouncement that he made. But the point has also been made by those who appear to be defending him that this is something that goes on the quiet, and his only sin is coming out in public to state what is going on or what is being done or has been done on the quiet.
That may be so, but when it comes out in the public, then you must face the consequences. And that is what he is doing at the moment. Because what he did is not allowed even by our Constitution. No one holding public office should discriminate amongst Ghanaians. We are all equal. And when it comes to looking after Ghanaians who are living abroad, the same rules should apply. He's working for government and not for the party. And that should make all the difference. And he must all be aware of the fact that in our country, the Constitution forbids you from discriminating against Ghanaians on basis of politics or religion or preferences. Now, he should have been a little more careful in his choice of words than that. He must also remember that he has sworn to be the supporter of the rules or the Constitution of Ghana, which prevents what he's doing. He must also remember that he's working for government and not a party.
Absolutely.
He's working for government.
Right.
Now, the person he's representing in South Africa is the president of Ghana. And the president of Ghana is a father for all, and not a father for party A or party B. And so the moment he starts doing that, he's getting off the line. I think that it's unfortunate, and I hope that this will be brought to his attention by the authorities, and he will find it necessary to apologize and be of good behavior in the future.
Very well, sir. Thank you very much for your time this evening. I'm grateful. Ambassador Victor Beho there, former Ghana's ambassador to the United Nations and a renowned lawyer, sharing his thoughts on this. I'm going to go back to Skype again. This time around, Portia Gabo, my colleague, is in Denmark ahead of that visit by the Queen to Ghana. Now, she's among 3 Ghanaian journalists who have been selected to be there, and she is currently with the ambassador there at the residence of the embassy. Portia, I thank you very much for your time, and I don't know if it's good evening there where you are. You look so beautiful with the ambassador, but thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfred. It's around 8:40 Copenhagen time over here, and conference over here is also building up ahead of the visit by the Queen. Tomorrow we have a chance to interview her, and expectations are also high. What with me here as Ghana's ambassador to Denmark is in the person of Her Excellency Amani Olenu. Good evening, and you're live on News 360. Good evening, Portia. Ahead of the state visit, Denmark is cutting aid to Ghana by 2020. What will be the impact on Ghana?
The impact will be very, very phenomenal in the sense that Ghana as a country is also in a transition because of our middle income class. Now we are also moving from aid to trade, and we are ripe for investment. If you look at the vision of Nana Akufo-Addo, where he wants to transform the country's economy, and where he wants our raw materials to be processed, where he wants our raw material, we want people to add value to our raw materials, then we are really going to benefit from this trade.
Now we understand that 39 Danish businesses will be coming over to Ghana with the Queen. How can they capitalize on this trip?
Are you talking about the companies?
Yes.
Ghanaian companies?
Ghanaian companies in Ghana, Ghanaian companies. We have 39 Danish companies who will be coming over to Ghana. But how can Ghanaian companies also benefit from this trip?
They are going to benefit in the sense that if you look at the areas, the focus areas where the companies are coming from, they are coming from the area of infrastructure. Some of them are coming to do business in the agro business and food, and others are also coming into the railway sector. and others into the infrastructure. If you look at the initiatives of the government.
So that's what's going on there, what you're saying, and the residents of the ambassador. The TV3's reporter Portia Gabo and cameraman Jubal Amedato are to meet the Queen of Denmark, who is set to visit Ghana this month. The details of it in the subsequent bulletins here on TV3. Do stay back shortly.
For the place, and it was a joy to say that you were a Ghanaian. I was a member of the Young Pioneer movement at the time, and I belonged to. We were taught African personality, belonged to the cultural group, and it was just sheer joy. Now we are under constitutional dispensation. There's the liberalization of the airwaves. And sometimes when I hear people talking, the kinds of things that they can go on air and talk, when we were growing up, you dared not. You couldn't do that. When Nkrumah was in power, 1 o'clock, everybody would be tuned to their radio. 1 o'clock. That was where ministers would be dismissed and all sorts of things could happen. You know, now we are talking about the rule of law. We're talking about constitution. So in a sense, we're not doing that bad. With the Fourth Republic. We still have not arrived. I mean, we shouldn't think that we have, because we have not arrived yet.
When you say we've not arrived, what do you mean?
We have not arrived yet in the sense that we still have impunity in the system. You know, I mean, when vigilantism continues to be there, where people show people where power lies, where people are not going by the rules of the law and order sometimes breaks down, and people think that they are above everything. We have not yet arrived. Misunderstanding, misrepresentation. Okay? If you are doing the work that I and my colleagues have been assigned to do, that's the eminent members of the National Peace Council and Regional Peace Councils, ours is not to play partisan politics. Even if you have love for a particular political party, you are not in there to promote the interest of a political party, but to promote the interest of Ghana. And so there may be occasions where you have to speak against certain things that your own political party might even be, the political party that you are sympathetic with might be doing. But how does the Ghanaian see it? If it is against my party, then he belongs to this party. If it is against this side, then he belongs here. I have been insulted. People have said all sorts of things. They have given me money, and it's incredible. And yet what people do not know is that the chairman of the National Peace Council is not paid. It's not a paid job. Okay? And all the members of the National Peace Councils are not paid. We're supposed to be given allowance. But I tell you that I cannot live on the basis of that allowance. The petrol that I will even put into my own car, and the car that I'm riding in is my car, given to me by my church, the Methodist Church, Ghana. I'm not using any government vehicle for anything. I work with my hands. I'm a minister of the gospel. I teach, I lecture, I write books to make a living. Okay? Yet, you hear people, somebody who doesn't know you from Adam, and young ones, he has not met you, saying all sorts of things. I don't get worried, because I mean, blessed are you when men shall revile and say all sorts of things against you. They did that to the Lord. I'm not worried. But I'm raising this issue because I think it's an opportunity for people to understand. I have said it before, that if you do not know that the Lord has called you in this country, you might not even give yourself up to do it. There are some good people out there who do not want to get themselves involved in anything, simply because of the kinds of things people will say.
All right, so Prof, as we move into our next years, as we move ahead into the next 20 years, what are your wishes for TV3?
My wishes for TV3 is for TV3 to have professionals who have specialized in specific areas. A TV3 that will become like, if it's not going to the world, at least in Africa, will be a media house like the CNN, a media house that has correspondents all over the place that can bring us fresh news as it happens. News as it happens. A media house that we can rely upon, and to be able to say that, where did it come from? If it came from TV3, then it must be true.
Reverend Professor Emmanuel.
As it happens, will certainly live up to that. Extremely revealing one there on What's TV3's maiden edition of 20 by 20. And the full episode will air on Saturday at 1 p.m, so stay tuned to TV3. Next is sports news with Nana Kojoafra. Stay with us.
Yeah.
Birthday wish from the president. This is bragging right.
Yeah, more money. That's it. But thank you. It's been wonderful spending 60 minutes with you, watching us on News 360. On behalf of the rest of the team, we're grateful. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I'm Natalie Fort. We've got more news on our website, 3news.com. News at 10 will also simulcast on 3FM 92.7. Next is